Greetings, folks. It is I, Andy, CEO of KendoStar and presenter of The Kendo Show and true heir to the Iron Throne. Okay, so before we start, don't go writing no spoilers for Game of Thrones down in the comments there, okay? Blocked about 15 people on Facebook yesterday for spoiling it for me, so don't be writing the comments down there that are spoiling Game of Thrones for other people. You write a spoiler, it's going straight in the bin, okay? Now that's out of the way, let's get into the questions. Okay, I've got a handful of questions here today. I've got the rule book because we've got a question about the rules. But before I get stuck in properly, don't forget to shop at KendoStar.com. Right, first question. What's a good opportunity for Gyaku-Do? I find I can do a decent Gyaku-Do during Waza training, but I can never find an opportunity for it in Shiai. Okay, so the opportunities for Gyaku-Do are... they're actually quite rare in Shiai. They're a lot rarer than they appear because most people have got quite good reflexes and reactions. So you might think there's a chance to do Gyaku-Do, but actually there isn't. You cannot be awarded Gyaku-Do unless there is a correct opportunity, and that opportunity has to be that the opponent... on a basic level, the feet have stopped moving and they're holding the shinai in this position, completely exposing this side of the do. Of course, there's more complicated waza, things like Nuki Gyaku-Do. If somebody does men, you can do Nuki Gyaku-Do or Kaishi Gyaku-Do, but they're much more advanced. Ideally, it wants to be when the person's planted, they're not able to move, they're panicking, and they throw their arms up this way. That's your chance for Gyaku-Do. It's hard, and it's a hard waza to do. What you find as well is lots of people don't score Gyaku-Do very well because actually they think that they're hitting it right just because they're hitting it hard. You don't have to hit Gyaku-Do hard, you have to hit it correctly. That means that you have to keep your left hand in the center of your body and you turn your hips as you make the strike, which means the left hand stays in the middle as your hips turn. That's what gives the strike enough power to be given ippon. You don't need to use all your strength to smash it like this. You'll just break your shinai, and you won't be given ippon. In terms of going back to the actual chances, what you really want to do, you want to be giving them pressure. You need to be watching what kind of opponent they are. If they're the sort of person that panics and does this a lot, then you might have chance by applying pressure and hitting this way. Problem is, if they're any good, once you start doing this, they might be kind of used to this. Lots of people that block like this a lot are often attacked Gyaku-Do, so they're quite good at blocking this way. So it's actually can be more effective to kind of show Gyaku-Do and then hit men. Go and watch the video I did about how to beat a blocker. I talk a little bit about that in there. Another really clear and really useful time to do Gyaku-Do is after your opponent attempts Hikiwaza. If they attempt Hikiwaza, they're going flying off to the edge of the Shiaijo. If you chase them down, they're going to think that you come from men. If you come after them like this with your eyes bulging out your head, they're going to think you're coming from men because that's what almost everybody does after somebody does Hikiwaza, is they chase them down and try and hit men. And if you do that, they'll probably panic. They don't want to get shoved out of the Shiaijo, and they'll probably do something like this. So if you chase them down and then hit a good Gyaku-Do, that's a good chance to hit it as well. Okay? Okay, next one. Hey Andy, could you give me some tips on how to hit faster and have more explosive energy? Senpai and Sensei keep saying that I should and I could move faster, but for me, I'm doing the best that my body can. Okay, so what it is speed comes from relaxation. You've got to be really, really relaxed in your body, except for two areas. One is your little finger and your ring finger, and to some extent your middle finger on your left hand. That's got to grip the shinai. And secondly, and most importantly, your left calf. Okay, your left leg needs to be primed and triggered and ready to go. This is called tame. Okay, and this is what tame is in Kendo, having your left leg in a position that's ready to instantly let you fly and make an attack. But the rest of your body has to be perfectly relaxed, and you have to swing the shinai complete with the left hand in order to get that speed. Yeah, pam, like this, pam. If you have too much right hand power, you lift the shinai like this and you slow yourself down, all right? So you have to treat the shinai like it's light. Don't treat it like it's an iron rod. Treat it like it's made of, like, I don't know, like balsa wood or something really, really lightweight. Relax in your grip, relax in your shoulders and your arms, but push forward from your lower body, and that's where your speed's gonna come from. It's not gonna happen overnight like that, okay? It's gonna take time and a lot of practice, so you're gonna need a bit of patience on it, I'm afraid. Next one. Hi Andy, I want to ask, is pushing a hand socker? In my last Shiai, I was pushing my opponent when we were in Subzeriai, and the Shimpan told me that I could get a hand socker because of it. He didn't give me one, just a warning at the time, but I obeyed and I didn't push the opponent again. But my opponent still pushed me, especially when I was at the edge of the Shiai-jo. He pushed me out. I got a hand socker, but my opponent didn't. So does pushing get your hand socker? Okay, so first off, you had a very kind Shimpan. I assume it was kind of a reasonably, let's say, a tournament for people that are reasonably new to Kendo, where the Shimpan are giving you advice like that, because normally they don't. They just, if they think you need a hand socker, they just give you a hand socker. It's very, very situational. It's very hard for me to say without seeing. Let me have a look. Here's the rule book. This is a brand new rule book. This hasn't been published in English yet. Okay, so this is just been released on the 1st of April this year by the All Japan Kendo Federation. It's only out in Japanese. It's not out in English yet. As soon as they have an English version, it will be up there on the KendoStar website. However, this section of the rulebook, to be honest, not much of it's changed. Just before I start, hardly anything's changed in it between this and the one that you can currently get in English. I don't think we'll see an English version of this in the near future, at least for a couple of years anyway. So if you know, don't worry if you've got the previous edition of the Japanese English rules, because there's hardly any differences at all. There's just a couple of differences regarding some of the equipment. It doesn't apply to the majority of us. Anyway, talking about pushing, we're going to look at, I think it's chapter 3, article 17. Okay, and it says here that the following points are considered hand socker, and it's number 3, where it says aite o futo ni jogai ni dasu. So that means to unfairly push the opponent out of the shiai-jo. The only other thing that's anywhere near this, it says aite ni ashi o kake mata wa harau. So either to basically kick or sweep the legs, which obviously is not pushing, but it's the only other thing that's kind of talking about physical contact in this particular section of the rule book. Now, look, if there's something in here that, you know, I've missed, then do let me know. But in terms of what it's talking about in terms of pushing, there's some other sort of side points on the side here, but it's generally like this one is saying if stepping out of the shiai-jo. This one's when you fall over, if you try and hide all the target zones. And how does this book flow like that? Putting your shinai on the floor when, you know, and that goes out of the shiai-jo, stuff like that. So basically the main thing as this says is that unfairly pushing the opponent out of the shiai-jo. Aite o futo ni jogai ni dasu. So the problem is, and it's not a problem, but this is how Kendo rules are written, is it's left up to the Shimpan to decide what is fair and what is unfair. But what you're talking about here isn't necessarily pushing out of the shiai-jo. You're saying just when you were pushing into Subzeriai. Now, if that's interpreted as time wasting, then some Shimpan can also, because it's written in here as well that you can't waste time. You're not actively trying to engage with the opponent. Then yeah. It depends, and obviously if you're acting in a very dangerous way, if you're pushing really hard and it looks like you could cause some injury, then yeah, of course the Shimpan have got a duty of care to put a stop to that. So you have to bear that in mind as well. Subzeriai isn't there for pushing each other around. Let's be clear on that. Okay, you're not supposed to push each other. Hand socker aside, you're not supposed to be pushing each other around in Subzeriai. Subzeriai is a place for you to continue your fight and create or search for an opportunity to make your next strike. It's not there for you to try and just push each other around. So yeah. So I mean, at the end of the day, I can't really say more than that without having seen what actually happened. And the rest is down to the discretion of the Shimpan, which I'm sure they were making the right call at the time. Okay, the next set of questions are from the Kendo Show Early Access group. If you're not in the group why you get in the group. There's a link in the description. It's free to join. It's where I post all of the instructional videos before they go anywhere else, and it's a great place to post your questions because not only do you get the answers on here, but it's a fantastic community of Kendoka from all around the world who'll also chip in and give you their thoughts on what it is that's on your mind. So, first one says, "Hi Andy, thanks for your effort doing the Kendo show. Thank you very much." What I'd like to ask is your opinion on doing keiko on tatami mats, the puzzle style. So I think the puzzle style ones, they're not actually tatami, they're like a kind of foam sponge mat, right? But even if you're talking about like tatami, Japanese tatami, the straw ones, it's not ideal, to be honest. I'd avoid it if possible. Kendo's not supposed to be done on mats. It's supposed to be done on a wooden sprung floor, preferably. It's not a good idea to be doing it on tatami mats if you can help it. Now, I understand that some places around the world, they don't have the luxury of being able to choose from lots of different types of halls to practice in. Perhaps you have to share it with a different martial arts club that's already got mats down. But if they're mats that you can take up and put back down, I'd spend 5 or 10 minutes at the start of class, have everybody pick up the mats, practice, finish the class 5 or 10 minutes early, and get everybody put them back where they were at the end, so that you're not disrupting other people, because you're better off without them. Of course, if underneath is concrete, then I understand why that's difficult as well. But that's my sort of thoughts on it, to be honest. If you can help it, it's best to avoid it. Next one, can you recommend dojos that are willing to train foreign students in Japan that can help me with whatever language barriers that might occur due to my limited Japanese? Do you know of any way I can stay in Japan for a long period of time without having to spend too much of a fortune? Yeah, there's a few ways. Someone commented on this, mentioned going to Kyoto. Kyoto's a good place. You can practice there every day in the Butokuden with some really high-grade sensei. I think another great option would be you could go and practice. I know, like, for example, I've mentioned in some of my videos the Fukuoka University of Education. They're quite open to international students. They've got accommodation. It's very cheap to stay there. And it's an amazing place to practice. You've got amazing senseis there. You've got Sumi Sensei there, who's obviously Hanshi 8th Dan, and he speaks really good English. And you've also got Sotaro Honda Sensei there as well. He's 7th Dan. He's really amazing sensei, actually, and he speaks brilliant English. So yeah, that's a really great place to go as well, because you'd be practicing with the university students every day. If you send us an email about that, just mail@kendostar.com. I might be able to hook you up, so let me know. But I suggest studying some Japanese though. Next one. Hi Andy, I don't think you've covered this topic, but have you ever had to deal with injuries? I hurt my Achilles before and that put me out for months. Recently I tore my left calf muscle, felt a pop when I lunged forward, and I'm wondering if you had to deal with things like this that take you out of practicing for how long? Yeah, I have lots, especially in the last few years of my sort of competitive career. Obviously I'm, when you're sort of well into your 30s and you're trying to keep up with the young lads, you've got to keep your body in top condition, otherwise you injure yourself. And that's what happened to me. I was working out mainly to try and make sure that my body was strong enough to cope with the training I was putting it under, so I didn't injure myself. But I actually had the opposite problem once. I overtrained, and I did a very similar thing. I tore my calf muscle. This is a few years ago, practicing with university students, doing a load of uchikomi. And yeah, it put me out for about 2 months, actually, and it was very, very painful. And now as well, I still deal with injuries. I just had tennis elbow. I'm just getting over tennis elbow. Got something going on with my wrist here. I don't even know what that is. But that's how it goes. But yeah, it comes to us all, really. It depends how much you do to prevent it and how much you practice in the first place, of course. But the amount I was practicing, I mean, yeah, I was at one point it was just too much with everything. And I paid the price. Okay, it's the last one. It says, I recently saw a post where a guy was talking about making his state squad and was asking recommendations of dojo in Japan he could visit. So that was the previous question that we talked about a minute ago. This got me thinking about how big is the skill or experience gap between Japan and outside. Surely one would be better served staying, training with his teammates, rather than going to Japan looking for some kind of edge in Shiai. I can understand the whole Japan has Hachidans thing, but is the training you could receive in Japan that much better than what you could find outside? Okay, that's a really awesome question. I really, really like it. Right, is the training you could receive in Japan that much better than what you can find outside? In a word, yes. In lots of ways it is, because Kendo is so much bigger there. And you can practice an awful lot more. However, look, I'll be honest with you, to the guy that also asked about going over there, you go over there for 6 months. You could go over there 6 months, 12 months even. I mean, you'll need some sort of visa to do that, but you go over for 12 months and you just practice there. You don't understand Japanese. You just practice there. You'll improve a bit probably, but it ain't going to change the world for you. It doesn't work like that. It took... I'll be honest with you, I was there a good 5 years before I was really seeing any sort of proper benefit on my Kendo. It's very difficult. It's very difficult to... I mean, obviously everybody's different. Everyone has a different experience. But for me, I felt like I don't think I did much it's not I didn't do much, but I don't think I improved that much in the first few years of being there. Because I didn't understand half of what was going on, and I didn't understand how to practice Kendo in Japan, and that's so different. And that doesn't mean how should I line up or how should I swing the shinai or something like that. I didn't understand the dynamics of the relationship between the teachers and students, or even the goal of the practice goals that I was supposed to have in mind as I was practicing. And it's really difficult to explain, but a short-term trip in Japan isn't going to change the world for you. It just isn't. It just isn't. Like I say, it took me years, and I had to learn to speak Japanese. Absolutely. If I couldn't speak Japanese, I wouldn't have improved at all, to be honest. Maybe a tiny bit, but hardly. So yeah, that's the bad news, I'm afraid. And having said that as well, I'm definitely not putting down the opportunities people have outside of Japan as well. There's some amazing teachers outside of Japan and some amazing practice opportunities. There absolutely is. So it's not a case of like, oh, Japan's the only place to practice, because it isn't. At the end of the day, it's all on you. Yeah, you're the only person that can make yourself better at Kendo. You have to take responsibility and you have to do your best. And if you don't, you won't get better. It doesn't matter if you're in Japan or if you're in Timbuktu. It doesn't make a difference. Okay, so that's it. That's it for today. I'm going to be off shooting the videos now for at least a week, because I'm going to the European Championships tomorrow as part of the British team's coaching team, and yeah, so I won't be making very many videos, I don't think, but I'll do my best as soon as I get back. Leave me a comment down below, let me know what you'd like me to rant about next time. Don't forget to shop at KendoStar.com, like, share, subscribe, all that thing, and for the third time, KendoStar.com. Thanks for watching.